everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Miss Ming. On my channel, I do a variety of lifestyle content. So if this is the first time you're in my channel, make sure you subscribe and also ring the notification bell so that you won't miss out in future content. As you may know, personal finance is a crucial part of lifestyle because at the end of the day, you need that coins to afford the lifestyle you want to live. Recently, if you've been watching my channel, I've been purchasing a lot of home items and holiday items and everything, and you may wonder, how can you afford that? I actually don't make much money, but it all comes down to budgeting. And recently we purchased a home, which is a custom home. It's my dream to be a homeowner. So in today's video, I want to share some of my budgeting tips, and I'm going to share my budget process in terms of how we spend our money to be able to afford a house and to be able to live the lifestyle that I like to live in. Are you ready? Let's get into the video. First step of budgeting is to know your income. Shockingly, not everybody has a clear idea of how much they make. A lot of us, we get a monthly paycheck or bi-weekly paycheck from our employer, and usually that states our annual income or monthly income. In addition, some of us may have some side hustles, such as doing a YouTube channel or stream on Twitch, so those income will count it as side hustle income. Although these income is somewhat unpredictable, but you should be able to have a sense of how much you roughly make each month from these side hustles. So the first tip is to identify the after-tax income. This is the key because taxes is a huge portion of our expenditures in our monthly or annual income. If you make more money, you pay more taxes because you may qualify for higher tax brackets. If you're low income, you may be able to do tax return. I was a student for the longest time, and every year I was able to get a lot of tax returns, so I'm always happy about that. So it really depends on your income bracket, how much taxes you pay, and how much money you can actually refund from your tax payment. Another thing about taxes is where you live. Some states have income taxes. Actually, some states have really high income taxes versus other states, such as Texas, do not have state income tax. And that is a huge advantage because I do see a difference when I put the same amount of income into a tax. If you live in Texas, you will pay significantly lower taxes compared to if you live in California or New York State. So it really depends on how much income you make and which state you live in. But it also comes with a disadvantage because Texas is more affordable state, I want to say, because the living expenditures here is pretty low and we don't have state income taxes. I actually make way less money compared to the same position in New York City. Because I work for a public sector, all of the incomes that we make are actually transparent to the public. So I did some research in terms of what type of income that the same position that I hold would make in California or New York State. It's actually a huge difference. I think if I live in New York, I would make $20,000 more annually compared to living in Texas. So although I pay less taxes, I do make less income. So it's really proportional. It scales down which state you live and the living expenses and also the taxes. Okay, so when we're doing the budgeting, the key is to budget on your after-tax income. If you work for an employer, basically every paycheck, they already withhold the taxes, which is really great. You don't have to worry about taxes like calculating at the end of the year. You may actually get some taxes refunded if you have dependents and things like that. But if you get money from Google or Twitch, it could be a little bit tricky because you need to think about how much you make and how much taxes you have to pay. And YouTube is actually only my side hustle. The problem is I have a main income source, right? And because when we calculate the taxes, we calculate the income sources as a whole. So even though I don't make a lot of money on YouTube, I still have to pay a big proportion of my money from my YouTube money. So even though, let's say, oh, I make $50, yay, but a big portion of that $50 is bye. So even though I don't make as much as those full-time YouTubers make, I still have to pay the same or even more amount just because I also have a main income job. So that is something to be aware of. I've seen a lot of people making six figures but still live paycheck to paycheck, and they have a trouble understanding why they don't have a lot of savings. The reason is because when they're doing the budget, they don't consider the taxes. Just to know that before you budget anything, make sure you budget on your after-tax take-home pay, not so much your overall income. So if you make $100,000 annually, you don't take home that much money because you're actually qualified to a higher tax bracket. It's kind of sad, but you do use the resources that the state provides, so it's important to pay back the money you make to public education and things like that. Usually when I do my annual budget, I do a micro budgeting process. So we don't have children at this point, but we're saving for future if we have kids in the future, the college funds and stuff like that. So to us, we first do a macro budget. So macro budget usually comes down to how much we pay for the houses, how much we want to save for the bank saving account and investment account, invest in the future as a percentage in a whole within the macro income. To me, I am a huge advocate for savings and also investments, of course. I try to save 30% of the income that I make. Every time after I get the paycheck, of course, my employer will withhold the taxes. 30% of my money will go to my savings account. It's very, very important to just wire it out because this is the money you don't ever want to see unless you want to use it for investments, for stock market, buying for the Roth IRA, regular IRA, index funds and things like that. So make sure those 30% of your income do not touch. To me, when I was a graduate student, I was able to save a lot of money, which actually now paid off because now I can use the savings that I saved during the graduate school to pay for the down payment of the house. I didn't have a good sense of investment when I was in graduate school, partially also because it's really complicated, the paperwork and everything. So eventually I was like, let me just wait until I have like a very steady source of income with a full-time job, start investing in Roth IRA and the stock market, index funds and things like that. So 30% of my paycheck always goes to my savings, and later, once I build emergency funds, enough savings, enough cushions, I will put them into the investment account. This is how I was able to save up to buy a house. A lot of people were like, oh, your husband has been working for a longer time, he probably has more savings than you, which is true, but when you buy a house, you don't want to rely solely on one partner to pay everything. You want to contribute as much as possible. So I did pay for 40% of the down payment, and my husband paid for 60% of the down payment, just simply because he's been working for a longer time. He's been working for over 10 years. Compared to I was just a graduate student, I was saving 30% of my income to even 50%, like living super frugally. So the key is to wire out 30% of the income. If you have children or any dependent, you may spend 15% of this saving account for your children or dependent, but make sure at least save 15% of income. But ideally, you want to save 30% because in the future, if you want to buy a house or for children's trust funds, college funds, and this and that, this is going to be your cushion money. This is the money that you can invest, and this is the money that you can rely on to make passive income from the stock market. So 30% is the golden rule for me, but of course it really depends on if you have dependents, how much income you make, and things like that. The next big bracket will be housing. 5% of my after-tax income goes to my housing payment. This is the golden rule of how much you should pay for mortgage or rent. It should be less than 25%. I was looking for apartment, I was looking everywhere. There are different studio apartment, 1-bedroom apartment, and also like you could have a roommate to live in like 2-bedroom apartment or a 4-bedroom apartment. When I was a graduate student, I was thinking, maybe I can get a studio apartment living by myself instead of living with a roommate. But the thing is, in that way, I will have to pay 50% of my income to my studio apartment, well, including the utilities and stuff like that, but still, that's a huge amount of money. Eventually, I was like, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So if you make $1,700 per month, you should spend $450 on your rent, which means you have to live with roommates. When I was a graduate student, I ended up having really good deals. I first lived in an apartment that shared with like 3 other roommates at like $350, and then another room in the house for $350, and then another apartment for $400. After I saved so much for the previous years, I was able to like afford a little bit better, like a little bit bigger apartment, but still I shared my apartments with other roommates. So I know everybody wants to have a big apartment, big house and everything, but your house payment or apartment or rent or mortgage should not go over 25% of the income. Okay, so here is the trick. If you are renting, of course, if you make $4,000 a month, you can just pay $1,000 on rent. It's no big deal. However, if you want to purchase a home, if you plan to become a homeowner, if your mortgage per month is $1,000, your actual payment is way more than $1,000. There's such a thing called property tax. Property tax is extremely high in Texas. It's actually ranked as 6th highest in the United States. So when you purchase a home, not only you need to pay for mortgage, you also have to pay for the property tax. And if you have a homeowner association, you also have to pay for homeowner association fee. So when you're owning a home or purchasing a home, when you're calculating how much money you can spend on a mortgage to decide what type of home to buy, make sure to take into consideration that after the mortgage, you still have to pay for property insurance, property tax, and you have to pay for any miscellaneous like repairs and things like that because, hey, you no longer live in an apartment and that's the cost that you have to pay. So let's say if you can afford $1,000 for housing, your mortgage payment should be roughly like $600, $700, and then you have to pay property tax, property insurance, and miscellaneous stuff. So before purchasing a home, make sure that you think about these miscellaneous add-on costs of mortgage payment of owning. So after this 55% of the income, the rest will be 45%. The 45% will go to my expenditures such as groceries, food, utilities, phone bills, and things like that. Let's look at the budget among both me and my husband. So when you look at this budget, just remember everything will be divided by 2 because we are 2 people. If you're one person, it should be a little bit easier because you don't have to pay as much, but also know that if you're one person, you have to pay for the mortgage by yourself. So during the budgeting process, I like to list all of the things I have to pay before the things I could choose to pay or I want to buy and things like that. So the first one will be phone and internet. I can't live without phone plans. I can't live without internet. It's super important. The internet speed is very important for me because I try to upload YouTube videos, I try to stream on Twitch. So the phone plus internet bill, 2 of us, will be $220. Supposed to be a little bit lower because now we have fiber and Brandon was kicked off from his mom's family plan. So he used to be on his mom's plan, so we didn't have to pay for it, but now he was like kicked out. So the phone and internet will be $220. The next will be utility. You can't live without water, electricity, and like the garbage pickup and things like that. So utility will be around $150. Some months it will become $200. In other months it will become $100. So $150 is just on average because we live in Texas. Right now, the temperature is amazing. So we don't always need like AC going on in winter. We don't always need a heater going on in winter, but in summer, the light bill is always over the roof because we live in Texas. It's extreme. Car insurance for 2 cars will be about $120. Health insurance will be $100 for me because my employer pays for the other half. But my husband is an entrepreneur. He is his own boss. He doesn't have an employer for paying the group plan. I have to pay $500 for him as assurance. Okay, groceries and home improvement each week will be $200. We usually spend $120 in Costco and $80 in H-E-B, so that will be $200 per week. So it's like $100 per person. And subscription services, including my beauty box, Amazon Prime, and Netflix. The next item will be gas. I drive a small car, so my gas per week will be $10. But the gas for my husband will be, in total, we spend about $150 in gas. We have to pay for gas because we have to drive to work. Well, this will be a saving if we could work from home, but we're back to office now. And miscellaneous stuff, such as sometimes we want to buy a little bit extra in the grocery store. So here's the thing, we actually spend more than that because we also spend money eating out, especially with family. Sometimes like on the weekend, we would treat ourselves by McDonald's or Chinese restaurants. Also, we spend money on entertainment, such as me buying a game to play. He pay for his game addiction. So on average, I think we spend $200 to $300 in eating out, at $200 to $300 in entertainment. So eventually we spend $3,000 in total and probably $1,500 each. If you have a higher income, your actual 45% of the income may actually way past than $2,500. So here's the thing, the secret about saving money is after your necessary expenditures and eating out entertainment, don't spend the money that's leftovers. Don't spend any leftovers because sometimes I have good months, I could make a little bit more money on Twitch and YouTube. Additional income, don't spend it. Just put them into savings or investment. This is my philosophy of life. Yes, we want to enjoy our life. We want to be able to eating out entertainment, but the more money we can save every month, the more money we can invest in our future. Another thing is that this year we didn't travel much, but if you could save a little bit money every single month, you can use that additional money for travels. You can spend that additional money to buy the things you really, really like during the Black Friday sales and holiday seasons. This pandemic, because we had a deduction in our car insurance, we didn't pay gas, stopped eating out, we didn't do anything with entertainment, we were able to save end of our income in general, and we were able to like put money into this house, and we were also able to buy furnitures, and during this Black Friday sale I can buy a little bit more items like beauty items, like other items that I love to do. But the only way to buy stuff at the end of the year is to save money early on during the year. If you notice that I didn't do much hauls from the month of May to the month of September, because these are the months I was like saving a lot, and then starting like October, November, December, we have holiday sales and things like that. Because I saved a little bit more, not paying a lot eating out, not paying a lot in entertainment, I was able to use those money to afford buying stuff during the holiday sales. So here's the thing, it goes back to the macro. There's 30% of your income goes to your savings and investment, do not touch it, but anything you save, from the 45%, you can actually use it to go on vacation or buy the things that you really, really want to treat yourself. And that also motivates us to work even harder in the next year. So I do believe that living frugal is important, but I just feel like if we're super, super good, if we are able to save the majority of the 45% from the 10 months before the holiday seasons, we can kind of go on vacations, or we can kind of buy something that we really, really like during these holiday season. That is how I could afford buying things during the Black Friday sale, and this is also the reason that I could afford buying a house with my husband right after graduate school, after working full-time 1 year. Alrighty, that's it for today's video. I hope this video can be helpful to you in your budgeting process. I know New Year is coming, new year, new me, new financial habits. Let's all work hard, work smart, and spend smart as well. Alrighty, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out for the YouTube algorithm to push the videos to more people. And also subscribe to this channel, ring the notification bell so that you won't miss out any future content. And I will see you in my next video.